fine. I'll be on your stupid camera anyway.
And reluctantly, Mr. Josh Price is with us.
Hi.
Mr. Mark O'Keefe.
What's going on?
Wes Wayne.
How you fellas doing?
And I am Sean Jolliker. So, how has everybody's week been?
Good.
Busy.
It has been busy. Too busy. Have you, Mark?
I've had better weeks, so I'm looking forward to the weekend.
I don't know if it's the time of year that's tough or what. Just it's been a tiring year already. And everything feels so out of whack. It's supposed to be fall here in Southern California, and we're having 90-degree weather.
You too?
Yes, us too.
It's supposed to be cold here, and it's still 70 on the beach.
And I don't know if that weirdness is throwing me out of whack or what. I've felt off and almost sick like the last week and a half. And I don't know what it is. Part of it is the impending time change. But I don't know. Hopefully it'll improve once the weather gets a little bit cooler and our clocks change. I hope I can get back to feeling a little bit more normal than I have in the last week and a half.
It's very much fall here in Kentucky, and it's actually kind of nice. I don't know, I'm from Florida, so like fall is just like, I don't know, it's all on TV. And everything turns pumpkin spice, like the weather never changes.
Everything turns pumpkin spice.
So here everything is like the trees are changing and it's like cold outside, and that's kind of nuts. This is what fall is, I guess.
I've never seen actual seasons. I have no idea what that's like.
Me neither. It's weird. It's autumn, like you learn about in the school books.
That just now hit here too. It's finally sweatshirt weather, which is
I thought it was a myth.
Nope.
Charlie Brown wasn't a liar.
Have your kids playing some leaves? Have they done that before?
Well, apparently while I was out today, my kids played in the rocks.
Oh, same. It's similar.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that picture.
Yeah, and they have walnut trees around here. And so the walnuts, like in their off-the-tree form, look like a tiny, super hard, like tennis ball. So it was unclear whether or not my middle son picked up a walnut or a rock and chucked it at Deacon's face. And it hit him like right in the pit where his eye and his nose meet. And Tiff sent me a picture of his jacket when it happened, and it's just covered in blood.
Whoa.
Oh,
Like, it's a crime scene photo she sent me.
Bullseye.
Yeah. And when I came home, like, he's got this big divot in his face. And it was on the border whether or not, I'm like, do you need stitches? Do you not need stitches? And, like, I have some medical training. I'm like, this is one of those things that it's either going to be, like, just go home with a Band-Aid, or they're going to kind of glue it together and put some, like, steri strips on it.
yeah.
I didn't think it was quite stitches. And so that little guy, Tip put these little tiny Band-Aids on there, and it kept bleeding through. So I have some gauze and like some surgical tape and stuff. So I made him like a specialized Band-Aid. And he's like, don't put that on my face. And so I put one little strip, and he didn't complain. I'm like, well, let me put another. And he still didn't say anything. I'm like, I'm pretty much going to tape like your whole face. So I covered half of his face with surgical tape and like up into his hair. And it just made me laugh. It held the piece in place. But
So now I think you need to integrate that into his Halloween costume.
Yeah.
it might be. Wes, you had a pretty good, like the man in the iron mask picture. That was pretty good.
It's the first thing I thought of.
So yeah, not leaves so much. Leaves would have been a little nicer. The rocks and walnuts, leave those in the road.
Kentucky fall is a little more hardcore, I guess.
I know, right? On the farm.
So have you guys been working on anything lately? Any projects?
I'm still working on the potential YouTube video, which I think is going to be absolutely horrible because my camera skills are atrocious.
Just do it.
You gotta
No,
get the first one done.
I'm doing it. It's just because half the time I'm like, oh yeah, I got an idea, and I go start working on it. I'm like, oh yeah, camera. and start going. Although I did find out that the one of the GoPro mounts will screw into the end of my camera mount or my light mounts that I bought for the 3D scanning. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have like angles of me working from overhead, which was kind of nice. But
So are you going to be on camera, or is it all going to be floating hands?
I'll be on camera. I don't know if I'm talking on camera, but well, talking on I have the faintest idea, man. I gotta actually finish the project and make it work, and then I'll cut it all together and see what happens. I don't even know how to use the software yet, so this is going to be a while.
First one usually is. It gets faster and better from there.
Till you start messing around with different cameras. I started running camera for Bob and using his camera, like an actual really nice camera with a lot more buttons and a lot more settings, and like shoots in 4K and actually picks up every little shake and every little movement. I'm like, good God, I am not good at this.
Have you, what are you working on? That you can reveal.
Did some more work on Bobby Duke's sword collaboration that I'm doing with him. I posted a little Instagram clip of the LED strip illuminating. I kind of sketched out the sword to scale, like on this giant piece of blue paper, like blueprint paper, and laid the actual LED strips out and the battery pack and kind of like where they're going to be. Tested it out, and people seem to like it on the post, so that's good.
Yeah, the animation of the lights look pretty good.
Thank you. I'm going to wrap that up and send that to him probably tomorrow, and then I got a little tiny projector that I've been toying with. It was on pretty good deal online. It's not the best projector, but it's battery powered, which could be kind of interesting. It's got a lithium ion battery that's chargeable through a USB cord, like a Android device, and it's only 4:3 screen format, I guess, and the resolution is kind of crap, but it is HDMI, so there's lots of potential uses, even some creative ones. So I might be able to integrate it into a couple projects. Got some ideas. I posted a teaser for one, and then I posted a more in-depth thing once I was so excited to make a little discovery that I posted it in haste, and I was afraid that someone might beat me to the punch, and so I took it off of Instagram. So if you're wondering where that post went there, that's why. I just want to get it out and see what the response is first on the actual video. So, and yes. I sneaked a little bit to Sean earlier, so he seems to think it's cool.
Yes, very much so. I think it's actually pretty epic.
I'm excited about that. How about you?
Have you... Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to... All right. Absolutely nothing. I have not been able to make much progress. The way I've been feeling has really impacted my desire to be out in the shop or do much of anything. So I'm trying to get over that hump to kind of get creative and get making again. Yeah, so I am about 95% done with the sign that I've been doing for the last 3 weeks. Hopefully that's going to be turned into a video. I have no idea what kind of footage I have yet.
Is it your logo or no?
Yeah, it's the logo. And I've still been trying to decide on to make it lighted or not. I have some EL wire that I wanted to use along the yellow edges of my logo. I wish it was a little bit brighter because it's only going to show up at night, but that's okay. I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'll be doing that soon because I have 2 other projects that are still kind of waiting on me. So hopefully I'll have more to say about that next week. How about you, Josh?
Well, back to your sign. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but the lights set it off. I made a big rectangular kind of... It's kind of like a CNC project, but I didn't have a CNC at the time. But it's a big version of my flight patch when I was a helicopter crew member. And it has a red background. And so I cut that piece out. So it just, when you mount it to the wall, you just see the wall through it. And then I hit some red LEDs to backlight it. And it popped. It was awesome. and it made all the difference. So if you're dabbling with the idea of putting LEDs, especially on something like your own logo, like it takes it up to 11.
Yeah, what I might have to do is add an extra piece or like frame around the edge of what I already done, and mount the LEDs on the inside of that then. So maybe I'll consider that instead of the EL wire.
Yeah, because the EOR, like you're saying, it's not super bright.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cause like a cascading kind of shadow, like outward.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty awesome, especially for something that like you design that represents kind of your brand. Like it kicks it up a notch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink everything now. Thanks, Josh.
I'm here to inspire.
I'm looking forward to doing that with mine as well
I
at some
mean,
point.
yeah. I mean, I know ultimately you guys are right, so I might as well do it right first time because I don't plan on doing this again for my logo. What I originally wanted to do was, okay, I'm going to make this whole thing on the CNC, and then I'm going to hand cut all the letters on the bandsaw and do a comparison. And then I just got lazy. Said, "There's no way I'm going to do that. I don't think there's a reason for it."
You can compare one letter, at least in the video, and like, I started this path, and here's the result. Extrapolate from here or something.
Yeah, I've done letters on the bandsaw before. I don't. Yeah.
It's a story that's already told.
I've done it twice. I did it for that one sign where I cut like 80 letters out, and I did it for the dog bed that I made. So, yeah, I don't need to revisit that again. I need to get to some other projects. So, all right. So, Joshua, what have you been working on?
I just got an order on my CNC actually for some more customized states for the friend of mine who's an artist and does those epoxy paintings.
Nice.
So I got an order of those 6 of those to go out. Oh, I just waved at your son, and I realized that I'm not on there, and he can't see me. I was picking my nose earlier, so it was good, so you can't see what I'm doing. But yeah, I've got an order that needs to go out pretty soon, so that's kind of fun. I was printing with my new Prusa Mark II, and it messed up. I kind of set it and forget it. I didn't watch it do the first layer, which I should have done, and I didn't. And I came out the next morning, and there's a giant blob, like, encompassing the hot end, so I've got to take care of that, which sucks. Which is weird, because I was doing these big rings, and in the workshop here in the RV, the workshop is right underneath my bed. And so I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and print this now, and then in the morning it'll be done. And so the whole night with the printer making that circle, it goes, woo! So the whole night it just sounded like this irritating person like downstairs going, woo! Tiff was like, how much longer is it going to be doing that? I was like, this is like a 6-hour print, so not all that long.
It was worthwhile.
Yeah, and then it came down there in the morning, and I was like, oh, it's all garbage.
Karma.
It crapped out Slimer again.
Cameras are handy.
Yeah.
I don't like printing without a camera on my stuff, so I can at least every once in a while I'm getting that feeling. Is it? No, it's okay. All right.
I've got one going right now with the Octoprint. Yep. It's a necessity.
So yeah, getting back to making things. I think I can finally announce that I am officially like working for Bob. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're staying here in Elizabethtown. I have a Josh at I like to make stuff email address, so I think it's pretty official. We're going steady now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm starting to shoot video for him, take care of all of the like customer products, update his website for blog stuff. He announced today, I don't know if you guys saw that he announced today that he wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did.
So that's something I've been working on for a while. Like when I was still working in Georgia, me and a couple other people helped him like proofread it and go through, and so I'm taking that on now, trying to put that up on Amazon, and then a bunch of people asked for an audiobook, so I got to figure out how to do that too, and so it's neat. It's working with Bob is kind of awesome just because he's a cool person to work with, but there's something different like every day. It's something that makes me stop and figure out how to work something out. So it's a really fun challenge. And today on his Twitch stream, he had a friend of his that's a puppeteer. So Wes, did you see that part today? I thought you came in.
I saw a post with him and a puppet.
Oh yeah, and he's I have not free reign, but like I'm trying to add more behind the scenes stuff on his Instagram. So if you see an Instagram picture where Bob is doing something, I'm taking that picture. And so today on his Twitch stream, a friend of his is staying with him, and he's a puppeteer. And so he had this puppet like on his Twitch stream with him, like, and he's talking back and forth. It was pretty hilarious. But
I missed that.
so yeah, it was pretty fun. If you didn't get to see it, I don't know if he archives them, if you can go back on Twitch and watch them, but that was a pretty good one.
Was it the beginning or the end?
Kind of. It took over. He was making something. I was in the office working on stuff, and so I could hear him talking. But he was making like a pickaxe or something for his son.
Yeah.
And then the guy Dave came in there, and then the pickaxe never got mentioned again. It was just them bantering back and forth. So that's what I've been working on in my shop, and what I'm now doing in Bob's shop. So
Neat.
That's awesome.
Are you gonna end up staying out there?
I don't know. We have a set time period to see how well this works, and then we'll reevaluate after that. But I am going to go home tomorrow back to Florida and go get my Jeep because we only have one vehicle, and we've had one vehicle driving around. It never made sense to have two, but now that we're here on a more permanent basis, I want my Jeep back. I'm tired of driving that stinking monster truck around in a Walmart parking lot.
So let me ask you about your sort of like the work experience. Like, do you knock on his front door, or do you go in the back door at the garage, or like how, like, do you go in there before he gets down there? Like, is there like any awkward points where like, hey, I'm here to work? I don't know. I just imagine some weirdness. I don't know. There might not be. But I just think of, like, oh, he's in the shower. He's not ready to work. And I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
No,
of
we tried to set all that up, and that was a real conversation. I guess that's really one thing I like. In particular about our working relationship is that we're both quite stoic, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think when I think it, and I don't have any emotions as a human being anyway. So that was a huge conversation. Like, how weird is this going to be with you just having somebody in your shop?
Right.
But yeah, I asked him, like, well, what time do you start work? And he's like, I usually get down here around 8. I'm like, all right, well, I'll be there around 9ish just to give you some time to do what you're doing. And he's like, yep, that works. So I show up around 9ish. He's already doing stuff. I walk in and get to work. I usually know I have a list of stuff that, I've kind of set for myself, and we talk about goals, and we just get to work.
Sweet.
He's got a bunch of stuff going. He's got tons of irons in the fire, and he does all that himself. And so it's just me trying to take away some of the things he has to do. So no, we don't, he doesn't have bedhead or anything whenever I show up in the morning, walk around the road.
I was wondering,
No.
Get all the juicy details. I like to make stuff after dark.
That's right.
Yep.
After dark.
So what are we talking about today?
Mark?
I don't know. There were two topics up for discussion.
Well, Mark,
Yeah,
you brought up the idea of...
It was
Toys.
it was
toys.
No, 'cause I remember toys, and then ToysRuS, and then the death of retail. I can't remember. I didn't remember which one I thought of.
Well, because they're all somewhat relevant and connected. That's kind of why. Because you initially brought up the idea of toys, and I said, well, we can connect it to something bigger with, the ToysRuS and all that stuff.
Which I'm sort of sad at, and I'm sort of not sad at.
I'm sad from a very, very nostalgic point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, when you talk about retail, and especially something like ToysRuS, I'm, how old am I? What year is it? 37. I'm still I'm still a gigantic child, and I took every chance I had to go walk through ToysRuS and just, it's cool. I love that when I was a kid. I kind of want to buy that now. Just those wonderful nostalgic vibes you got from it. But at the same time, it's like if I need to buy something, the stores don't stock everything. And I don't have the time to go there. Oh, they don't have it. I'll come back another day. Oh, they still don't have it. Oh, okay, they got it. So I'm gonna go to Amazon and click. Oh, there it is. It's on back order. All right, it'll show up in 3 weeks. Purchase. So I don't know how you guys take it, but it's it it's kind of inevitable, in all honesty. I love having the brick and mortar places because I do love going and seeing the things and being able to pick them up and see what they are firsthand. But on the other side, that's more of I do that for fun. If I don't have time for that and I need something, it's coming from Amazon. I'm sorry.
So they file for bankruptcy? Like what
Chapter
happened?
11. Chapter 11.
No.
Now was it the entire company or was it just a section of the franchise?
I think it was them and Babies R Us and everything, wasn't it?
I don't think ToysRuS is a franchise.
Well, I mean, you can
I thought it
franchise
was-
Toys R Us, but it's the parent company that
Yeah.
owns Toys R Us and Babies R Us.
Yep.
No. Well, let's face
Yeah,
it. Babies R Us is expensive.
And so is Toys R Us.
It
Like
is.
when I
Yeah,
heard
that-
about it,
Yeah.
like I grew up in a small town, and we didn't have a Toys R Us. So the nearest Toys R Us for us was 45 minutes away in Pensacola. And I remember to go to Toys R Us, it was kind of like this huge journey. Like if we were ever in there, it was like, oh my God, can we go? And then my parents would sigh, and they would go in there, and
Definitely getting a toy if we're going through this much effort to get there.
right, it was an epic place, but it seemed like what was that huge toy store in Big? It's in New York City. that kinda-
FAO
Schwartz,
Schwartz.
Yeah,
which closed.
That's what Toys R Us was to me. It was this huge like mecca of toys that I know I couldn't really afford. And most of the stuff they had there, like my local Walmart, and then when Target got really popular, like Walmart would have it cheaper, and if they didn't have it, Target had it for a little bit, maybe more. But still, both of those were less than Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But then when we would go to Babies R Us, Babies R Us is it's a kick in the balls. Like
Yeah.
it is ridiculous how
did you-
expensive stuff is there.
Did you just have a child and have your paycheck cut in half? Let's cut it in half again.
You want a
Baby
stroller?
needs the best.
You want
This-
airbags on your stroller?
Yeah. It
Do you
was
need
ridiculous.
wheels on your stroller.
Pick up a bulk package of the mommy hooks for $1,700 or whatever. It's just,
Here's the 6-axis baby swing. It glides your baby.
yeah, it's like space training for your baby.
I got a 6-axis mill. The baby thing must be great.
I just felt insulted walking into Toys R Us and Babies R Us, and so I was not, sad to hear that they were going under because it's kind of their own fault.
Dinosaur.
You didn't adapt.
I'm not sure if I feel the same way.
Well, I hope not.
Yeah, it's
It'll be a real quick episode.
well, I mean, a big part of it, of course, is playing on nostalgia, and my memory of Toys R Us is not. It was, of course, not what it is now, because when I was a kid, it seemed like Toys R Us was the only game in town. So it seemed like they had a little bit of a monopoly on it, and yeah, it might have inflated prices, but it felt more like an experience than it does now, even going with my kids. And I have like this distinct memory because of the marketing campaign. I want to be a Toys R Us kid. You had their mascot,
Jeffrey.
and Jeffrey. And I remember the stores. I don't know if they're the same way across the country. I'm going to assume they were, but you guys could tell me otherwise. Where you go up, it has the really colorful lettering and the long, colorful stripes on the front. Do you guys have it the same way? Do you remember it that way?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
do remember that. That was
yeah.
That was,
Yeah, so I mean, this is at least 20 years ago, probably
Yeah.
at this point. But I don't know. There was something different about that store that made it feel magical. And I guess Josh, you kind of already alluded to that. Now it's really brightly lit. It feels sterile inside, almost like as if Best Buy opened a toy store. It doesn't really feel
Yeah.
special anymore. So I think it's already missing part of the magic that would make people want to go there for an experience as opposed to just a retail purchase. So I think they're already missing something. I actually still go to Toys R Us quite a bit, mainly because we get gift cards and different things or specials. They have a lot of events, so I've taken my kids there a lot for special builds or all these things.
Buy one get four free.
I mean, whatever it was, and I think that's moving in the right direction, but I don't think they're pushing it enough. I think they should have looked at what Lego has done with their stores and try to adapt that model a little bit more.
Still don't understand how Lego stores do so well.
Well, see where I live, Lego does great because I have an international airport a mile away from my house. So we have a lot of travelers that buy directly from the store. So
Mm.
it makes sense here, but I don't know about other places either. Yeah, but Toys R Us, I don't know. It just feels different.
Well,
That
Lego.
I don't know. And I know that brick and mortar retail stores are kind of the a thing of the past in a lot of ways. It's why so many of the electronic stores have gone out of business, and even why the ones that are still around are having trouble staying relevant and staying open.
Well, see,
But
with electronic stores, it's a little different. I mean, we're kind of at the point with technology where, like, I had a conversation with a customer today. It's like, oh, what TV do you recommend? The newest one. There is no difference in technology at this point. It's if you have a TV that comes out now and you have a TV that comes out 2 months later, it's the one that's 2 months later because that's got the newest technology in it. Everyone's got pretty much the same picture. Everyone's got pretty much the same color correction. But when you go to the other end of it for toys, it comes down the price and your experience. Do you have, like you were saying, Sean, do you have fun going into that store, or is it the ER of toy stores?
okay, so one thing is the experience, but I think the other is I think Toys R Us and consumers benefit more because of something they didn't know existed or didn't know it was there. Because if you buy something from Amazon, you're usually looking for something specifically.
It's hard to
Yes.
browse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
to browse. You don't
Window
have
shop.
that. Yeah, and you don't have that moment of discovery when shopping online.
Oh my god, I didn't know there were toys of this.
Exactly. So I'm sad for those reasons too to see it go.
So how would we make a store that would survive in this day and age?
How do we save Toys R Us?
Yeah, how do you save Toys R Us? I think the first thing you do is, like what Josh was saying before, find a way to lower your prices. We are entering a world of lower than middle class. There's
But the Apple Store exists, and that flies in the face of
that's
that.
that Apple's a cult.
Yeah, but
And
Toys R Us
yeah, the
could be
Apple
a
Store has
it could be a cult if it's set up
Yeah,
the same
but
way.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't have to lower them like ridiculously. Just you need to be aware of who's selling the things you're selling and for how much less. Because if you're the most expensive one out there, you better have something else to bring those people in to buy from you. Because if you don't, they're not going to come to you because they don't have the money.
Actually,
So-
I would argue that there's nothing wrong with their prices.
For what they
I
have.
Yeah, I mean, I think their prices are probably where they should be, and that I think that we've gotten too used to paying less for things and valuing them less in a way too.
Yeah.
Always low prices. Yeah, always.
Well, it's the Radio Shack model.
Yeah.
They have inventory, right? So you can go into Toys R Us, and I know in my head right now, if I were going to go look for a specific Lego set, I have the lowest likelihood of finding it on a shelf in Walmart, slightly higher at Target, and I know if I want it, I'm going to go to Toys R Us because they have it. So I don't know if that's universal or if it's store dependent. Some store managers are better than others, and some can manage their inventory. But it's going to cost that store, and it's going to cost Toys R Us a lot more money to keep the inventory on the shelf. And that's where Radio Shack kind of had, I don't know, it was inevitable that you're going to get mad at Radio Shack because you're going to need that one weird little piece of whatever it is that you're working on. And you can go to Radio Shack and you're going to find it. But it's going to cost them money to keep that one weird little piece that two people on the planet may need on their shelf. So that piece is then going to be more expensive, and you're going to get super pissed to pay $10 for an AV to an HDMI or whatever it happens to be, because it's peculiar. It's out
Well,
of the
you're
ordinary.
paying for the convenience of having it right now.
But it cost them to keep that on the shelf. And so you look at
Yeah.
Toys R Us, and that's all it is. It's a huge warehouse full of inventory. And you're going to have to pay a little bit more because they have that in the store. And Amazon, they're cutting out that retail element, and they can buy, if it's not like an MSRP thing. So MSRP, usually you're going to pay no matter the same price, no matter where you're going to go usually. But if something is more expensive at Toys R Us, it's because of that inventory element and them having to ship it to the store, and you buying it from them. So if you get something cheaper on Amazon, then obviously you're not going to go pay more for it in the store. So then they have more inventory, and it's kind of a cyclical problem.
Now, what about, because when I was young, in the same plaza that Toys R Us was, we'd always go over to a store called Best.
I remember
And
those.
you remember that?
Yeah.
There was two of them. There was the actual store, and then they had a little mini store right next to it, and it was the Best catalog store. So you'd walk in and they'd have like 7 or 8 catalogs around the store, and you could just flip through it and then say, okay, I want item 4371, and then they would order it for you, and in a week you'd come back and it would be there for you. Now, what if they had something like that, but instead of having the catalogs, you had one of the things that you sold? And depending on what it was, it could be behind glass or just a picture, if you're buying a video game or something like that. So, because if it's a toy, you want to see the actual toy. So if you had like a wall of, things closed behind plexiglasses on rotating turntables where you could see the toy you wanted in all its glory, and say, okay, I want that.
It's
Please
basically
ship
a real life catalog.
Yeah, real life
Well, I have
catalog
that-
store, but then I want that. Please ship it to my house.
But you can do that on the internet. I mean, you can get 360
Yeah.
degree rotations. I mean, you in this store, like, you still wouldn't be able to handle it. You still wouldn't be able to like take it out of the box and play with it.
There's
You
still
would
something
just be looking at it.
There's still something seeing it in person, like, because then you can see how big it is, how how certain things are made. Not every retailer, especially on Amazon, takes decent pictures. And I can't tell you how many times I've ordered something on Amazon, got it, and gotten a slightly different model or something that wasn't even the picture of the thing that I bought.
Well, even on Toys R Us, you put like store pickup or deliver to your house if you really wanted to go to the store. But that would be some accountant's like cost comparison between how many people would actually walk into a store and not be able to walk out with that thing. Because if you're going to get off your couch out of your house and want to go buy a Lego set, and then you see it behind glass like in a vending machine type thing, and you want to hand somebody some cash, and they go, "Oh no, you can't do that. You show up here in a couple of days." Like, I'd be kind of pissed.
Well,
Yeah, it's a weird
Amazon,
retail experience.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon's doing that thing where in certain areas, like if you live within, I think, what was it, like 25 miles of an Amazon shipping center, it's like hour delivery.
Yeah, I have that. Amazon Prime now.
Yeah. I mean, I live just outside of it because they're about
It's not an entire selection. It's
their
limited.
warehouse is like 45 minutes from me, but I mean, I can see in the future where you have a certain amount of warehouses and you say, okay, I want this, and okay, we'll get it to you by this afternoon. Or,
Amazon's where they're succeeding is in distribution. I mean,
yeah,
and availability. Like they realize that's like the core of their business, so they're looking at every novel way to take advantage of distribution. Like in California and some other places, they have like this little, I forget what you call them. They're like little
The pickup boxes.
pickup boxes, yeah.
Mhm.
And like if you don't have an address or you're traveling or whatever, I mean, like I think how many different ways that Amazon can currently get a product to you, and different
Drones.
speeds, and yeah, exactly. They're trying to do the drone thing, and
here's my GPS. I'll be sitting in the park.
Amazon Prime now. I mean that it's like every possible way to get a thing to a person. They've at least delve into it.
Yeah.
So they're worth, like in the they bought Whole Foods, right? And so they're working on the whole grocery distribution. They have the demo stores that they had where you just basically push a cart around, put stuff in the cart, and walk out, and automatically charges your account. Like that completely revolutionizes and flips retail grocery shopping and any sort of shopping on its head. Takes out all the stuff people don't like. You know, they're willing to shift the whole market and try new things. That's
No,
you can't
no,
be a dinosaur
yeah.
in 1980s stuff, you know? Like you're the way you think about things.
Now, in regards to that, when it comes to Amazon making it super easy for you to do everything from your phone, and that could also lead into that whole the homebody thing. You're always on the internet or whatever. But is it necessarily a bad thing that I can do everything from my home?
So Toys R Us
It
for me right
depends.
now. Like if I wanted to go to Toys R Us, I would sigh. I'm like, God, I don't want to take my kids in there because it's gonna be a fight. I'm either gonna have to buy half the store, or they're gonna scream and yell at me. So I can just avoid it altogether and not have to worry about it, or make like a special time kind of trip. Like, hey guys, we're gonna go to Toys R Us. Now, if I didn't have that option, Toys R Us was gone tomorrow. Like, I may be affected a little negatively, but again, I can go to Target or Walmart or somewhere else. It's just not like the full-on toy experience.
Yeah.
Like you can go get other stuff, and so it's a little more diluted. But also, like I was thinking about it, all the Toys R Us that I know or I've been around have tried to group themselves around like really popular retail locations, mostly like malls and shopping malls and things. So I don't,
Yeah.
which are dying as well. So it may not only be that that retail store isn't doing as well. It's that
Yeah, all of them.
retail
Sears,
environment.
Kmart. Yeah,
It's
that's
every retail store that's actually hurting right now.
Yeah, they're kind of guilty by association. Like, then those are more sad, kind of uninhabited parts of the retail space. And so just being in that physical geographical space may kind of hurt them too, because nobody wants to go over there anymore. But
The odd thing about a lot of this too is that Amazon has opened some brick and mortar stores.
There's one in Durham, 10 minutes from me.
I have no idea what they're selling. I just know that it's actually happened. So,
Yeah,
and there's something wrong with the Amazon model too. It's from the consumer end, it's easy and it's convenient. But if you've read any stories about the stress
The
that
people that work there.
model
Yeah.
puts on everything, no, not just the people, but on distribution, on all
how
these
cut
different
through-
things.
throat they are. Yeah,
So I think in a sense that things have been too easy. We've come to expect things too quickly. And I think that it's a hard thing to keep up with in scale. I mean, Amazon's doing it. They're going to probably find a way to do it. Just, I think that's at a cost at some point. And Mark, you'd asked the question before about the homebody thing about being home. Well, I think the expectation is that your family outing shouldn't have to be a retail experience to get out of the house.
Yes.
But hopefully now you'll use that time to go to the park or go out in the sun and do something.
Go out to dinner.
Yeah.
or go to Toys
But
R Us and buy a drone and then go to the park.
Right, right. I don't know. I think the whole thing makes me feel a little bit uneasy only because I don't know where it's going. And I don't want. I kind of worry about Amazon ruling too much, which they already kind of do. And I think there needs to be some healthy competition in this space.
Yeah, that is something that worries me. Like they seem to be dominating too much, and that's never, ever, ever healthy.
then stop using them. That's the only thing, is that they're dominating because people like it.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like,
Notice that we're not talking about
They-
Walmart being some dominating factor.
I refuse to talk about Walmart.
Walmart's
Like,
horrible.
the conversation will shift because it's people who hated Walmart, and now this is so much easier and more user friendly and relevant and available, and,
What's
and the next thing will come along. And
I mean, people still talk about Walmart. I just don't want to because they're despicable. But I mean, they are an Amazon competitor, you know. Although I don't know if they'll win because they're not doing what Amazon is doing with the logistics.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're that far behind, but I know they're not because Amazon Bezos was like a month ago. I read he was trying to make a FedEx and UPS competitor. He was going to make his own shipping company. Walmart
There's
ain't doing
Amazon
that.
Prime planes.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, based on how much shipping they do.
Yeah, I mean, the federal government changed a procedure that's been in place for how long? How long have they not had mail on Sundays? And then Amazon's like, hey guys, it'd be great if you guys delivered our packages still on Sundays. And they're like, oh okay, here's some money.
Well, yeah, I mean, the post office is hurting, but they probably deliver more packages now than parcel.
Oh, for sure.
The demand is there. That's why I work Sundays.
So Toys R Us going bye-bye is kind of a sign of the times. Although I don't remember hearing any report about how many stores might be closing. I don't think it's all of them.
I didn't think it was a lot, and it's not the whole company. It's
They're
like
not being dissolved.
select stores.
Restructuring, yeah. Doing the same thing Circuit City did.
I would love to see, not necessarily like maker space ish, but I would love to see a company come out with like, okay, here's your toys, here's your learning toys, and every other day we have, we open a couple of them and
Basically like a Barnes and Noble for toys.
sorta, yeah. Get people together, you can learn, play with other kids.
Like school?
More fun than school.
Fun school. Trademark.
School sucks. I want fun school.
There's our
I want
mission
STEM
statement right there.
school.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking about something since we were talking about being nostalgic about Toys R Us, and how Sean, how you're sad about that. Did you guys used to get like the catalog from like Sears or JCPenney?
Oh, I love
and, like,
that.
around
The
Thanksgiving time?
Christmas catalog, yep.
Go through
With a
that and like
marker.
earmark all the pages,
Oh yeah.
and like how you were prepared. Like if you came up with a list, like I saw what it was, I saw the field, I saw all the different types of stuff, I knew what I wanted. How do kids do that nowadays? Because I know that like the new
Amazon wish
toy,
list.
Commercials
Yeah,
and
but-
internet because everyone's got a smartphone at 4.
but
No,
how do
actually,
you find? You have to go, like you're talking about, you have to go search for things. Like how do you search for the new coolest toy? Because there's usually like a list right before for people's dumb parents. Like these are the cool toys for the season. Like how does a kid? The kids don't determine that. The marketing agents are determining what the newest and coolest thing was. So demand is being pushed rather than kids looking at the field of options going, I want this thing.
well, okay, so two things regarding that. One is I still get a toy Target catalog and Toys R Us catalog every year.
Really?
I do. And my kids go through that and we, look at things based on that.
It's actually like
yeah.
thick, like catalog, not just the circular before like Black Friday.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
like
it's
getting
like
the-
it's like 40 pages or something.
Well,
It's like a Kids Lee Valley catalog. I didn't know that still existed.
Yeah, I
Don't tell my
sit down
kids
and look at it just as much as my kids.
It's not as thick as the Sears ones used to be, though.
No,
Well,
no,
Those
no.
are like phone
Kinds
phone
of
books.
crap.
Those things
commercial-ism.
used to be mini phone books. They were at least an inch thick.
My son and daughter each get a Sharpie. They get to circle a couple things, and I get my Sharpie, and I start circling things.
really?
Everyone gets a different colored chart.
But I was thinking about too is I think toys are different now because I don't know how many kids are watching traditional TV and commercials. My kids don't watch regular TV. They're not getting the same advertising exposure that I got in the 80s.
Yep.
So I wonder if some
Well,
toys just aren't selling because the advertising exposure isn't there. In
How
the
did
same
the fidget spinners sell? How did they get out there?
Magic.
word of mouth.
So I mean, yeah, but all the kids wanted them. I mean, it's the
It's a
same
cool
as
thing
any
in
toy.
school.
But that's only going to happen for a
But in
select
the-
few toys, as opposed to
In the,
like everything
in
out
the
in the
80s,
store.
there were entire cartoons designed around just selling the toy.
Yep.
He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers,
Mask.
Mask. Well,
Every single one
I
of
gotta
those
look.
cartoons.
Yeah, I gotta look that one up. I don't know which came first. I probably the toy came first, but no, it was the '80s. The toy came first.
No,
It was
I
almost the
listened
same to
to.
me, but
There was a Stuff You Should Know podcast about this, where it was almost like federally prohibited to market a show
Oh, it
specifically to
was.
kids to buy a toy, and then Ronald
Yeah.
Reagan just pretty much overturned it and told the FCC that it doesn't matter anymore.
yeah, he
So, like,
deregulated it.
Huh.
yeah, every toy, and that's where the knowing is half the battle thing came from, like in GI Joe, where it's like you should eat apples, kids, as they were trying to get into
Oh
that.
my
Like,
God, I
we need
remember
to have, yeah, like put down that candy bar and have an apple. They're like,
No, but see that was a federal mandate that there had to
Right.
be an educational portion of that show. Then that's
that
why
was
that
taken
happened in
away.
the '80s.
and then
I think it's pretty
Ninja
beneficial,
Turtles.
That's
actually.
why.
I thought it
That's
was
why
too.
Saturday morning cartoons went to hell.
Yeah, because it didn't have to. It didn't have to make a message. No one cared anymore, and it's you. That cartoon exists so that you will buy those toys, and those people can put commercials in there so that you can go buy the Mario cereal. Like,
Now I just got really
'Cause-
depressed. I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
if you watch
There's
them,
no
like
good
the plot to
cartoons anymore.
those shows weren't good. Go back and watch them. They were cool, and they were
Ninja
fun.
Turtles.
No, they
yeah.
were
The
cool.
storylines were freaking stupid.
Oh
but
yeah, no, they were
super
cool
fun.
back then.
Exactly.
Looking back, of
That's what
course.
inspired. That's what inspired stuff like if you there was an interview with the guys who are doing the current Voltron. They said we are making the Voltron that we remember being cool. Because if you go back and watch Voltron, the American version
It's
of Voltron,
very, very slow.
it was horrible and
Yep.
it sucked. And they're coming and they're saying we're making a cartoon as cool as we remember it being, which is very
That's
important because
that's the
every
distinction.
single thing we remember, Thundercats, GI Joe. I don't know if Mask was as bad as the rest of them, but
Mask was corny, but it was awesome.
not Quicksilver, Silverhawks. All those cartoons were horrible. They were so horrible, but we were kids and we were dumb and loved them.
She-Ra.
But you guys recognize the difference, though, right? I mean, a lot of the animations right now really aren't even made for kids. They're made for adults. They're looking for our approval, not the kids. The kids we were
depends on
watching in the
what
80s
network.
were actually made a little bit more for us because of some of the regulations in place. As bad as those storylines were, they were still a little bit more of a point and moral that actually, I think, helped that generation, our generation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Netflix cartoons, yeah, that's absolutely aimed at us at our age groups. But you go to like Cartoon Network or
That's our age groups too.
I don't think there's a lot made for
no,
kids
Cartoon
specifically.
Network originally was for us, but I mean the current cartoons now, like Teen Titans Go,
is not
crap.
for kids.
No.
uh,
Yeah, I agree.
Uncle Grandpa, or seriously, you got to look at some of these cartoons. They're so god awful.
Rick and Morty, Steven's Universe.
Well, no, Rick and Morty, not for kids, but still, what was the Gravity Falls? That wasn't geared towards kids, but it was made for kids with nods so the parents could watch it. That's what a lot of those cartoons are doing. They're made for kids, but they're made with humor so the parents don't want to blow their brains out while their kids are watching it for the 15th time.
Thank you.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched the same episode of PJ Masks.
Caillou.
No,
God.
but she hasn't watched it yet. She does love DuckTales, though, so there we go. I'm okay with watching those episodes. I've watched the first and second episode of the new DuckTales at least 15 to 20 times.
But don't get me wrong, for the people that are pissed at me because I said I didn't like Blade Runner, I love every single one of those cartoons. And now that I get to watch them, like, again with my kids, it brings back that awesome nostalgia. But watching them, like, this is the dumbest storyline. The new Voltron, like you talked about, like, has an awesome plot, has awesome character development, has really good drama mixed with super cool, like, fight scenes. Like, there's so much to it. To where if you go back and watch, like, the original Ninja Turtles again, it's like, this is just dumb.
Well, that was really funny. There was God, I forget. There's been like 4 or 5 different Ninja Turtles. One of them came out with, I think it might have actually been the most recent one. They came out with a universe sprawling episode where Shredder was trying to kill the Ninja Turtles across all dimensions.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
And they brought back the original 80s Turtles,
Yep.
and the new Turtles were like, what is wrong with you guys?
It's on YouTube. It's awesome. It's like freely available.
It was hilarious.
It's great.
They made fun of it so bad. And I love that self-awareness. But I want Netflix to do everything. I want Netflix to reboot Silverhawks because Silverhawks has so much good material. And
Had cool toys though.
What's that?
Had really cool toys. And that's one thing I respect about Voltron too, is Voltron is not only,
Yes.
like you're saying, they're remaking the show that they remembered from their childhood. The marketers are remaking the toys that we had as a kid. That they are bigger, they hook together, they do things. They're posable. Like,
I thoroughly respect a mechanical toy.
yeah.
Like Voltron was always impressive. Especially the way they animated like everything coming together and the internal parts, and that just takes a lot, and I thank them for that.
And I think to call back to what we're already talking about, if I would have seen a picture of the Voltron lion on Amazon or on the ToysRuS website, I would have seen it and went, yeah, it's a lion. But when I went to the store and I saw the scale, I saw that it's bigger. I saw that this thing, it's not just like the little tiny ones that hook together.
Was half the size of you.
Yeah, that thing is freaking huge. Like the black lion is in this massive box that's like the size of a carry-on bag. And I got really excited. I bought 2 of them because you could understand the scale and you could understand like that this toy was different than the other ones. And see that as a thumbnail on like a website probably wouldn't have had that same impact. So I don't know if I just contradicted my stance earlier or strengthened one of your other points, but the Voltron toys added validity to it.
That was the dangerous part about combining toys, though. Like, if you wanted to do a display, you had to buy 2 of everything, so it doubled the price of whatever it was.
Well, we're about coming up on time, so what are we geeking out about this week?
I saw the Foo Fighters.
How was that?
It was awesome.
That was Mr. Grohl.
He's doing well. Yeah, it was the second time I'd seen them. I went with a couple friends, one of which listens to the podcast. He actually stayed in our room that we stayed in, Josh, at Atlanta. Robert.
Mm-hmm.
He went with his wife, and we ate dinner with them. They sat in some different seats, but it was good. It was really good. The audio was good. Like, the quality, like the presentation, like they do the stage presence thing like perfectly, and like all the lights and all that stuff work together. Just the show itself was pretty impressive. Lasers and I mean, you name it, they had it.
I never saw them live.
I saw them live in I think 2000, and it was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Like Dave Grohl jumped off stage and walked through the crowd all the way to the concession place and bought a beer and walked all the way back through the crowd, got back on stage, and drank it.
Yeah, I've seen that like Stone Temple Pilots, and it's back when you could see them, and it was such like a stark difference. And like they would just stand there like robots playing, and they would just play every. It's probably because he was not singing, honestly. But yeah, Foo Fighters. I mean, they just kind of do like breakdowns. They're almost like they're improving like the entire time. You know, they have rehearsed elements, but some stuff can happen with the crowd, and it just seems dynamic and like more authentic. It's nice.
I want to say Foo Fighters is probably one of the most important rock bands of our time.
Okay.
I can get on board with that.
Yep.
It's not a bad statement.
How about you, Mark?
I don't know.
How about the Black Panther trailer? Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah, that looked interesting. So somebody posted a meme, and it was the only 2 white guys on this poster are from Lord of the Rings, and then underneath someone commented, "They're the Tolkien white guys."
Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
And I was just like, "Yep, you win. That was great. I'm done."
Wow. I want a shirt.
What am I geeking out about? What do we got? I don't know. I'm slowly moving forward with my project. That's all I got. It's been a weird week and my mind is so shot. So that's all I got. Sean.
I guess I'm geeking out about an update to a game that I haven't played in a long time, Team Fortress 2. And this game has been around for over 10 years, I think, at this point. And it's free to play, and they're still actually keeping up to date with it and releasing new things and keeping the game relevant, which is pretty cool for a game that is that old, and you really don't have to spend any money to play it. So it's a pretty cool thing that Valve does with their property.
Team Fortress 3. Oh.
Yes, if only they could count to 3, then things would be very, very different.
Portal 3.
Portal 3. I'm still holding out for Half-Life 3, but I don't think it's going to happen anymore.
Left 4 Dead 3.
Yep, 3.
Yep.
That must be a thing, actually. Never considered that.
Well,
you, Josh?
the company's not going to just end. Eventually, they're going to have to do a third game or something.
No, they don't have to. They're printing money with Steam, so we'll see.
I have been geeking out about a book. A friend of mine from high school wrote a book, and it's kind of Tolkien related. It's in the Hobbit world. It's called Hero in a Halfling. It's on
That sounds
Amazon right now.
Ninja Turtle-ish.
It did. Now that I said it out loud, it kind of did.
Hero and a halfling. Turtle power.
Tolkien
Midget
power.
power.
But it's really good. I know I've talked about him before, not on the air, but it's a friend of mine who actually helped write the Washington Post's mobile app.
Oh, wow.
When he started writing, and so he wrote a book. He self-published it. He's been helping me try to figure out how to do all that with Bob's book, and I think you can get the book on Kindle for $1. But it's really good so far, and it's really funny. It's I've known this guy since middle school. I was like, this is really good. So his name is Tyler Davis, or William Tyler Davis, I think he goes by, and it's called Hero in a Halfling. So you should go check it out and get it for $1. It's really good. That's what I'm geeking out about.
Cool. Well, we would love to hear from all of you. Please visit makinggeeks.com, check out the contact page, drop us a question, suggestions for the show, anything you like, just go ahead and send it there. And don't forget that on our homepage, you can listen to all of our past episodes. We're coming, this is episode 68, so we have a pretty good back catalog, especially if you might have missed some of the past, especially any of our special episodes with many guests we've had on the show. So go ahead and check that out at makinggeeks.com.
And you can find all of our social medias on Instagram at Making Geeks Podcast, on Twitter and Facebook at Making Geeks.
And we'd like to thank our awesome patrons at patreon.com/makinggeeks for your continued support of the podcast. We do appreciate it, and we'd like to give a special shout out, as usual, to our top patron, Mr. Seth Williams. Thank you, sir, for your support. If you'd like to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and help keep the show on the air, keep the hamster from falling out of the wheel, that'll be appreciated. Just go to patreon.com/makinggeeks.
And you can find us all individually on the internet at Asylum Designs on Instagram, Thingiverse, and Twitter, at geekbuilders.net, at geeksmithing.com, and thepiworkshop.com. And thank you for everybody for hanging out with us on this Saturday. That's right, we're back on Saturday. Last week we were not out on Saturday. Now we are. Get back in the rhythm. But we hope you have a fantastic week, everybody.
See ya.
Have a good weekend.
Later.